the phrase hello world in LaTeX using, in this case, TechShop. So as soon as you've opened up TechShop, you can create new document by simply hitting Command N. You can do that numerous times. But anyway, as soon as it opens up, it usually pops up as a new document. Right now it's empty, so you will have to start off with a couple of commands. And to produce the simplest document in LaTeX, you need at least 3 commands. The commands are document class, and then in curly brackets you specify what the document class is. In the simplest example here, I will do an article, and right now I will produce a comment. Anything after the %sign will not be recreated in LaTeX, so you can add pretty much anything you want in your text. So here I will just list a couple of document classes that you can use in LaTeX. So the simplest one is called letter. The next one is called article, which we'll be using for this example. The slightly more complex one is called report, and the next one up is called book. More recent one is called memoir, and the one that I'll be introducing most grad students to is called Mac thesis. This is a document class that I've created for McMaster University, and I will introduce it later on after we get through the basics. Alright, so we've got the first line, which will be calling up the document class to be used to produce our document. Second line will be begin document, and finally the last line will be end document. That's it. Everything, all of your content will be provided in between begin document and end document. So I will show right now a couple of examples and a couple of intricacies of LaTeX. So let's say we want to produce hello world as our first document. And before you can typeset, notice there's a button here for typesetting. When I hit typeset, because I haven't given this file a title yet or a name, it will ask me to save it first. So what I will do is I will go to hello world and give it the name hello world.tech. Pretty much you can place this anywhere you want. In my case, I'm placing it into a folder called hello world, giving it the name hello world. If you don't provide an extension, it will assume that it's a tech document or .tech. So all of the LaTeX documents that you should be working on are called .tech documents, but it can handle a whole slew of documents. So we'll just leave it at the default. We'll hit save. I had it saved previously, so I'll just replace it. Great. And notice that when you're LaTeXing, there's also a console that gets shown to you, and this is everything that tech actually is doing, and LaTeX is using based on tech in the background. So all of the functions for LaTeX are done in the background. And notice that right now I've printed off a document, an empty PDF file that shows one page and the phrase hello world. Now another couple of details with TechShop. If you hold command and click on a document or on a word, it will jump to roughly the same spot in your source file. So right now this is my source file, and if I do the same thing, let's say I want to click on hello, it'll approximate where exactly my file is, or sorry, where the content of this word is in the PDF file. So this is pretty neat, because when you're working with a humongous document that's 1,000 lines, for example, here we only have 6. When you have 1,000 lines, all you want to do sometimes is just click on it and find exactly where you are in the PDF. So another detail, what I've done here is produce a PDF file. Often PDF files are what are submitted to journals, so sometimes this is good enough. And okay, let's go over a couple more details of LaTeX source files. Notice that I've produced the phrase hello world, and notice also how spaces are being handled by LaTeX. What I can do here is produce a number of spaces between hello and world, and when I hit my typeset button, what happens is that LaTeX knows to ignore all of those spaces. It knows that between any two words you always have only one space. So it's smart enough to know that all of this is junk, and it can actually ignore all of it. Another little detail, sometimes when you're writing your document you want to leave comments for yourself. So let's say here is where I print my first LaTeX phrase, and now when I hit typeset, notice nothing gets printed from my comment. And of course you've noticed that nothing got printed. For example, all of this stuff here didn't get printed. So whenever you are writing in a LaTeX source, you can leave a lot of comments, and sometimes you can have sentences that need to be deleted, or sometimes you want to use them later. You can always add them here. Hello world again. Now let's say you've changed your mind and you want to include this in your document. What you've done here is uncomment that phrase. When you typeset, notice that it gets added. And another thing is, when your source lines are not separated by any blank lines, for example, this is followed by the next phrase here, LaTeX knows that it should add them all on the same line. If you want to add them on separate lines, you can either do 2 backslashes. So let's just quickly show that example. 2 backslashes will produce 2 lines. Or alternatively, you could just insert a new blank space between hello world, blank space, hello world again. When you hit typeset, it'll think that both of these are new paragraphs. So notice that the indentation has changed as well. So right now it has inserted a couple of blank spaces in front of each one of these phrases. Great. So these are the simplest examples, and again, the spacing in LaTeX doesn't really matter as long as everything is on the same lines, or the lines just following it, right? Okay, and I will leave it at that, and we'll get into slightly more complex examples later.